All right. Looks like we're live. Let's see. Checking the stream itself. There's always like a weird delay, so we gotta like wait a second. All right, we're good. All right. We'll let some people join in a second. Get the numbers up. Chris, how are you?
Doing well. Went to see Kendrick and SZA last night at MetLife.
I
Really
saw the
fun.
tweet. Yeah.
Really fun.
I was like, oh, the Drake guy went to go see the enemy.
I mean, like that's the thing. I just like good music. Like all
Yeah,
of the
yeah, yeah.
songs that came out for the most part were good. So I was enjoying it. I mean, I'm not family with Drake. I don't care if he's getting dissed. I don't care if
Yeah.
Kendrick's getting dissed. So it doesn't matter to me. I just like good music.
Yeah, yeah. Which albums did he do?
Um, he basically did every single one of them.
Oh, really?
Um,
Okay.
I mean, the majority of the songs I mean, the most songs of the albums was the last one, G and X.
Right.
But yeah, he did every album that he's put out.
Mm, that's good. Yeah, I was my wife and I have been trying to figure out like which show to go to, but when I got sick, that kind of like threw off the plans. Like we were gonna go to Chicago, then we were gonna go to Philly, and it's like I don't know. I'll catch one of the shows at some point, but it kind of threw off the schedule and like what we were trying to do. So I'll try to catch something. MetLife, I think we were both like we didn't want to go to MetLife because it's just horrible to get in and out of.
Yeah.
But you know, I'll catch one of them at some point.
I saw Kendrick maybe 6-ish years ago in Atlanta when I was living there. And SZA was supposed to be on that tour, but I think she had like some sort of vocal cord injury, so I wasn't able to see her. But she's also great live. I,
Is
I
she?
really, yeah, I really enjoyed uh, watching her last night. She's a really good performer.
Mm. All right, for those that are here, if you have questions, feel free to start asking them in the comment section, and we'll get this going. We're just like biding some time until people join and have their questions to ask. So, if you have questions, you can start asking them in the comment section, and we'll be happy to answer them. Yeah. So, going to the Yankees and trying to stay away from the Kendrick stuff, so people aren't confused. We talked about this yesterday on the podcast, and if you want to join the podcast, if you're not already a member, it's in the description. The link to the Patreon is in the description box. Um, we talked about the young guys, but also like I think this might be a good starting point for people. Is this team for real or not? Like, is this like a good team? Or are they just benefiting from um opponents or playing at home, whatever like reasons people could come with to try to like evaluate this team? But in your opinion, as someone that's watched them day in and day out, and we think about the landscape of the American League, um, do you think this is a good team? Where do you see them amongst the other American League teams? I know that you've said multiple times that you don't think that they're your favorite to win the World Series, but where are you with the Yankees right now on May 9th?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're a really good team that could certainly win the World Series. Um, I think that the starting pitching for the most part has held up without Garrett Cole and Luis Seal. It helps that Max Fried is pitching like an early Cy Young favorite, and Carlos Rodon has looked like the Rodon that they originally signed. I think he's been really good. Um, the offense, I think, has been better than expected, in my opinion. I did not think that they would have the best offense in the sport right now. Obviously, that it helps that guys like Trent Grisham has taken a massive step forward from what he's been in his past. Ben Rice has emerged, and we talked about it yesterday, but they needed some of the young guys to come through, and not only has Rice come through, but Wells, Dominguez, and Volpe are all above average in WRC plus, so that helps the Yankees, be the team that they've been so far, which is a really, really good team and one of the best teams in the American League. I think I'm not looking at the standings in front of my face, but I think the Mariners have a better record and the Tigers have a better record. I
Yep.
think the Yankees have a better team than both of those teams.
Yep.
If we're doing a power rankings of the American League, I would still have the Yankees one, even if they didn't have the best record.
Right.
Um, but again, I still like some National League teams better than the Yankees as it stands now. We spoke about it yesterday, but the fact that for the entirety of the contenders, a lot of this is going to come down to how do these teams address their concerns at the trade deadline. And it also remains to be seen who might be available at the trade deadline and just what the costs might be and all that. So I think the Yankees are in a good spot. I think the Yankees are a very, very good team and one that could certainly win the title.
Yeah, it's interesting with the trade deadline, because when you brought that up, and we have talked about it a couple times in the past, the trade deadline could also make someone's season worse, like it did with the Orioles last year. I remember you and I speaking after the trade deadline and being completely baffled by how Baltimore treated that trade deadline. And then not so long after than that, the Orioles kind of suffered a tailspin and eventually lost the division, and then had a first round knockout basically in the playoffs. So it really can make or break a team. I don't, the Yankees brought in Mark Leiter. I don't really know if he was that helpful until they got to the playoffs. So, you would like to think that the trade deadline can help a team, but it can also hurt a team, as it did with the Orioles, which was like very, very interesting. And I think it was unexpected because we were both saying, yeah, they have the artillery to get whoever they want, and they ended up making like terrible moves, and it didn't help the team out at all.
Yeah, I mean, I still don't understand what the Orioles have done since dating back to the trade deadline last year. Their offseason was a joke. They absolutely blew it this offseason, and they deserve a ton of criticism for what's transpired over the past year. I really don't understand what Mike Elias, their GM, the ownership group, everybody, how it's been handled. And you have now the younger players that they have on the offensive side have not panned out so far, but like I still believe in them. I still believe that they're good players, but to go into the season with their rotation as is was an abomination. I have no clue what Baltimore was thinking. Like that's not good enough. You're not going to win many games with your pitching staff with how it is.
Yeah, and even in the context of the Yankees, I mean, I feel like the division has helped the Yankees out a little bit because, as we know, and we'll answer one of the questions that we have in the chat in a second, the Yankees have blown multiple games, and if this was the AL East of old, I'm not sure the Yankees would be in first place right now. Not that it really matters because it's super early, but I think if the Yankees can clean this up a little bit, there is a chance for them to create a pretty significant gap between them and the rest of the division if they can clean up some of these like little issues that they have. Now we know that they have holes on the roster that can't really be addressed significantly until later. But the things that they can control, it feels like if they can corral that a little bit, even though it's early, there's a chance that they can create a really nice buffer. I mean, some of these teams in the division are not good. Baltimore's not good. Toronto's not good. Tampa is Tampa, but they're also limited. I mean, I think we've seen that with the Rays. And Boston just wants to shoot itself in the foot internally, like with all this little drama that they're having. And also, I never thought that team was as good as people were portraying them to be. I think they're a good team, but I don't think they're like a great team. And now they have all this like Devers stuff that's going on that, the translator and the translation, and some guy's not happy reportedly with his comments, and the issues with the GM and the star. And, it's just like a lot of things going on that I think if the Yankees can just play clean baseball and like protect leads, they can really start to separate themselves, which can help them down the road.
Yeah, I mean the Devers stuff yesterday was certainly interesting. Um, it's not often where the star player is as vocal as he is about how the GM basically went against his word that he gave Devers in spring training. I obviously do not cover the Red Sox, so I don't have full context of everything that's going on. I'm only reading what's being said. It, it's it's definitely drama. It's definitely something that I know Boston does not want to deal with, especially with a player who has a contract worth over $300 million. So they need to figure that out, and they need to figure it out fast.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's a problem.
Yeah,
And
problem.
Bregman's been playing really well. So that move has obviously worked. But there's a lot of issues going on with Boston, and it feels like nobody can really quell the situation, and it seems to be getting worse. I think the whole translator thing was also like pretty funny. I'm amused by it, obviously, because I like to see them. I'll never forget the chicken and beer drama from the mid 2000s, which like wrecked that whatever year that was with the Red Sox. So I'm enjoying it. I hope that keeps going on. Keep drinking chicken and beer and translating things the wrong way, like and hating the GM. Like keep doing it. Keep doing it when you play the Yankees too. All right, let's get to one of the questions here. Kebra Zakes, do you think Devin Williams should ever be put back into the closer role, or should he stay the setup guy?
I mean, as of now, he should not be in the closer role. With he's still struggling, and he still probably has a ways away from even being a possibility to regain that role. Um, as long as Luke Weaver continues to perform well, he's had two, kind of shaky outings against the Padres, but for the most part, he's been excellent this year. But as long as he is performing well, then they should keep it as is. We spoke about it yesterday, but Williams is very important for the overall success of the 2025 Yankees. They traded for him thinking that he was going to be one of the best closers in the sport, which he's been basically since he joined the league in 2019. Obviously has not turned out that way, but they still need to get him right no matter where he pitches. If it's the 7th, 8th, 9th, it really doesn't matter. Like he needs to be good for the Yankees to have their best chance of winning the title this year.
I agree with you. I don't think that there's any rush right now to switch the roles. I think where they are right now is fine. Now, this is just a sense I have, and you're around the team, so you have a much better understanding of this. So I'll pose this as a question. It's my sense that in an ideal world, the Yankees would prefer that Devin Williams was a closer and Weaver was a setup guy. I think it's not just for this season, but like any potential of like keeping him around in the future. Now, we've talked about this too. We don't know if he's going to stick around. This might not be the place for him. It might not work out that way. But I would think that still early on in this process that the Yankees would still be interested, at least from their side, of keeping him around beyond this season. But in an ideal world, from what you can gather and you're around the team, do you think that the Yankees would prefer that Devin Williams get that closer spot back?
Absolutely. I mean, it was one of the first things that Boone said when he got demoted. Like, ideally that is Devin's spot because of what I just said too. He's been one of the best closers in the sport for over 5 years now. So they want him in that role. And they also like Luke Weaver in a role where, if they're in a big spot in the 6th inning and the starter's out, or the 7th inning and the starter's out, they want Weaver for that role to be like the attack dog out of the bullpen. That's their ideal situation. They don't have that right now because Williams isn't right, but they certainly want him back in that role. It's just a matter of can he actually regain it with pitching better. And so far that remains to be seen. Like it's obviously been a disaster for over a month now with Devin. So in an ideal world, he is the closer for the Yankees. And he has the most saves on the team, if that's something that you're keeping track of. But again, I don't think that is close to changing right now.
Yeah, I'm still bullish on Williams. I think eventually he will get it back. I'm basing this just on track record and talent and kind of like blind faith to a degree that he will find it. I still think, and we've talked about this a bunch of times, that this ultimately comes down to command. And then I'm sure like the other things creep into it when your command isn't there. But I mean, I'm still bullish on Williams, and I think eventually he will get the closer spot back. I just don't think it'll be anytime soon. I think he has to have multiple high leverage spots um, before the ninth inning where he shows that he's comfortable. He has his command, that his command matches with his stuff, because his stuff is still elite. Like there's nothing that has degraded on that end. It's just going to take a little while, obviously, for him to get that consistent command and then show that in the game. So I think eventually he'll become the closer, but part of that is just like blind faith and going off the past, not necessarily what he's shown as a Yankee, because that has not
Yeah.
been good, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, the stuff is there, so you're encouraged by that. But and this is something that we haven't mentioned before, but there are times where relievers specifically, they just turn into a pumpkin out of nowhere, and you have no clue, like, what the hell happened. I mean, Cleveland's going through this now with Emmanuel Clase. Clase and Williams have been the two best closers in the sport for 5+ years running now, and both of them can't figure it out right now. So
Yeah.
sometimes, like, it just happens with relievers where they just forget how to pitch all of a sudden, and the stuff is there, and you continue to believe in the pitcher, but it just never comes. So like that also could be a possibility with Williams. Do I think that's going to happen? No, but like it is like a legitimate possibility with relievers specifically.
Yeah, and I think it helps that Loizaga will be back soon, and hopefully he stays healthy. I don't. There hasn't been another update on Brubaker, right?
He was doing, I think, live batting practice. I mean, I don't know how he factors in at this point. Like they need starting depth. Maybe they built him out because he was a starter before,
Right.
but I don't think he's gonna be a major factor. I would be surprised by that. Loizaga, if he's healthy, which is always an if with him,
Right.
would certainly be a huge benefit for the Yankees. But like, I don't know how you can rely on that just because he is literally always hurt. So
Yeah.
I'm not sure what you're going to be getting out of him. I don't know how long he has until he inevitably breaks down again. So you just never know with Loizaga.
Yeah. I mean, maybe there's some like help on the way. I do think the Yankees will bring in a reliever at the deadline. I don't know of what caliber, but I certainly think that the Yankees will be at the very least adding to the bullpen, because I think unless they just fall off a cliff, um, I do think that they'll be good enough and in contention enough to like start making moves at the deadline. I mean, that was something that we said was a very important part of this first half, and so far they're showing that they're definitely worthy and deserving of the front office making moves. So we'll see what happens. Justin Sanchez. Sometimes I wish Yankees players told off Cashman when he made them change positions. LOL, but Rafi could definitely handle this better.
I mean,
Yeah,
Glaber did it last year, kind
yeah,
of.
and then it rolled into this year, which is
Yeah, so it's like
hilarious.
it's not like a unique situation for the Red Sox. Like this does happen.
Yeah,
When the Yankees traded for Jazz last year, uh, Glaber made it known immediately like the Yankees wanted him to move to third base. He said no. It just didn't, turn into a huge deal. And Cashman deserves some fault for how he, handled the situation over the offseason. He was on Yes Network. I forget the question he asked, but like he didn't need to bring that up.
right.
I mean, like I as a reporter, I appreciate Cashman's honesty, but like it didn't need to be brought up because Glaber's gone at that point.
Yeah, and they had made it clear that they didn't even want to deal with Glaber anymore. So it's just like you don't need to like send him a shot. Like
Yeah,
it's
like
over with. Like
I again, like Cashman is honest to a fault for the most part. So I get it from that perspective, but like it just created like because it was the off season, nothing's going on. It just created a little shitstorm.
yeah, Finchinator. Williams also profiles well as a closer with his strikeout numbers, while Weaver, who isn't bad at all, allows some balls in the air, even in clean outings like Cleveland last month. Yeah, good point.
That is a good point.
Yeah. Finchinator also says Weaver also offers that 4 to 6 out flexibility as a fireman that you're now relying on others to cover. Yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah, I think again, we said this a bunch of times. The bullpen is built around Williams and Weaver, but Williams being the closer. Like that's the way that that's the vision. So at some point, the Yankees need, I would think, this vision to like come back to fruition and then be humming so that they have flexibility, like Finchinator just mentioned and you talked about, to like attack teams later in the game, because we don't know what's going to happen with the starting rotation. So the more that the bullpen can factor into these games, I think the better. And yes, you're risking usage problems and guys getting tired at some point, but I mean, you got to win the games that are in front of you and worry about that later, I would think. Ansel Graham, thanks for doing this, guys. I hope my 3-month-old for naps at this time, so I depend on this. Thank you for watching and supporting us, and we won't speak too loud so we don't wake the baby up or turn the volume down. Derek Williams just popping in to say, I'm glad my guy Ben Rice is continuing to rake. Yeah, I mean, and he had big hits in that Padres series. I mean,
He did. He had a couple of them.
Yeah, I mean, he's, again, like we talked, this was a topic of conversation yesterday on the podcast, and you can join by using the link in the description section of this video. I mean, the Yankees young guys have made a huge difference. I mean, they're making impactful plays. It's not just like playing well and kind of like not being a part of the big moments of games. They've been contributing. Like Ben Rice had the big double. He had another big hit. Jason Dominguez had that double from the right side that changed the complexion of that 8th inning or 7th inning, whatever it was, on Tuesday. So yeah, Ben Rice's raking is pretty crazy. I mean, like you said, nobody expected him to be that good. Like he had that great spring training. He put on the muscle and he had good metrics last year, but bad results. And all of a sudden he's like a really impactful hitter that like needs to get at bats.
You know? Yeah. I mean, the one thing with Rice is like, even in the minors, like he was hitting, like he was hitting the cover off the baseball in the minors. The only thing that was going against Rice is that, you know, sometimes when like you're a lower round pick, there's just like not much incentive for the organization to, you know, move you along. And he hadn't played that much baseball at a high level because he was directly impacted by COVID. I think he had like 2 of his years in college like wiped out. So he was like organizing essentially pickup games to play and like would try and like gather up scouts to get them to the field to see like what he and his friends had to offer. So like he has like an interesting story too. Just the fact that like you know, he's at this point like one of the premier guys who like was directly impacted by COVID and just like how his baseball journey came to be after that.
Yeah, and I mean, it's hard to criticize an organization and their player development when they picked up a guy during COVID in some random ass pickup games, and then he's turned into like a monster on the major league level. So I mean, that's a credit to the organization. Ansel Graham, do you guys think they need another bulk guy in addition to Yarbrough if they're going to start bullpenning games? I feel like a lot of the relievers are 1-inning guys. We've talked about this, but like, is that what they're going to do with Yarbrough now? Like, are they going to bullpen games, or that, like, do we really know what's going to happen yet?
They haven't said. You know, I think it's important to note that Alan Winans, who's in AAA, had his start scratched a couple days ago. Boone mentioned after they cut Carrasco that Winans was an option. I think it may depend on like how tonight's game goes, because they still haven't announced the starter for Sunday. Like, let's say you know, Warren is pitching tonight. Let's say like he can't make it through 2 innings. You're probably going to need Yarbrough to pitch to get some length. So I think they're probably waiting on tonight's game to see just how it goes before deciding on a Sunday starter. It could be Winans, it could be Yarbrough, it could be a bullpen game. They haven't said officially yet, but I think a lot of it's probably going to come down to what happens tonight. Because Warren, you never know with Warren. You never know what you're getting.
Right, and we spoke about this yesterday. They're going to a launching pad in Sacramento. Like, there will be home runs hit on both sides. So who knows how Warren's going to handle that environment. Like, the balls have been flying out of Sacramento. So hopefully Warren has a good start. But again, wouldn't be surprised if he, shit the bed or something. Sorry, Ansel. I hope your baby didn't hear me just curse. I'm sorry. Finchinator, Winans from AAA may come up soon. Not sure what guys think, but he has some high K rates and can go 1 to 2 times through the order. Maybe they're more knowledgeable of how the organization views him.
Yeah, I mean, like we just said, Winans is an option. He's looked pretty good in AAA so far for the Yankees. 14 innings, 24 strikeouts. The only thing about Winans, you don't know exactly what you're going to be getting with him in the majors. He doesn't have much experience in the majors, but when he did have experience in the majors, again, it's very limited, but just not much to go off of like if this guy is going to be good or not.
It's also important to point out that Cookie Carrasco is back with the organization. He's in AAA right now. So as you were speaking, it hit me that the Yankees just don't have a lot of starting pitching depth available in the upper tiers of the minor leagues. Now, if you go to the lower tiers, they are stacked. Like, they have pitching galore, AA down, but AAA major league guys that are close, they're like, the cupboard is basically bare at this point. So they're in a very precarious situation that, again, goes to like the overall issue of depth with this team. But, as you were mentioning, we don't know where Warren's start can go. They're still in a precarious situation starting depth wise. Like, they just don't have a lot of options. So they have to hope that one guy stay healthy, because then you're forced to make a move. But also, like, if they're healthy, that some of these other guys like start pitching well. So you're not like looking behind you and nothing's there. You know what I mean? So they're still like in a very tenable situation, or like untenable situation, in that there's not much left to turn to unless you're excited to bring Cookie Carrasco back down there.
And they could.
Right? They might have to.
Boone didn't rule that out either. So, I mean, he is an option to start too. So they didn't fill his spot on the 40-man roster. So they can just easily put him back on the major league roster, or call up Winans or whoever they want, because they didn't fill Carrasco's spot on the 40-man yet.
All right, Keeper Zakes, with Stanton and DJ LeMahieu coming back soon, who do you think is going to lose the most playing time?
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly an interesting question. I think they don't know the answer to this yet. I think for DJ, there's a clear pathway for him to just slide in back with the starters, either at second or third base. Oswaldo has not hit much. His defense is not the greatest. So, like, if they wanted DJ to play third, I think that is an option to them. At second base, they're playing Bibas at second, and if they want DJ at second, they will bump Bibas out of there. So I think he is going to get ample playing time. Again, I've made my feelings known about where DJ is as a player. I don't really think there's much left in there, but maybe I'm wrong, and we'll see. But I really don't think he is a viable option at this point of his career. As for Stanton, look, I mean, when he's back, he's going to be the DH. Now, how often he plays, I don't know. He's not going to be playing every day. That's just not what they do with Stanton, even if he's a DH, especially with this kind of injury too that he's dealing with. They're probably going to be very, very cautious with him, So I can certainly see him getting at least 2 days off a week. And then when he's off, Ben Rice slides into to DH. The one thing that we have talked about, if the Yankees wanted to play the platoon matchup, which Boone has been obsessed with as of late. I don't know why that's changed because he really didn't think that way in prior years, but he's like obsessed now with lineup balance and platoon advantages and all that. But if they really wanted to maximize it, when the Yankees are facing, tougher right-handed starters, you can put Goldschmidt on the bench and have Rice play first base because Goldschmidt has not performed well against righties, and this is not a new thing for Goldschmidt. If you look at his numbers last year, he struggled a lot against righties, so that's something that the Yankees could also consider. But it kind of remains to be seen, like how they're going to configure it, because they're already having to do this with the outfielders because you have 4 outfielders for 3 spots and 3 of them are lefties. So it's a bit of a challenge to get those guys in as often as Boone would want and the fans would want. So it's going to be interesting to see how it works.
Yeah, and hopefully Stanton and LeMahieu produce as well. It makes the decisions tougher. If they're not producing, then I think some of those you got to go. This is how I feel. I've ranted about this with Jason. I don't have to get into it again. But at some point, if you have all these guys, it has to be a competition. And the one that's Grisham has proven that it's a competition. If you're having a better at bats, you should be getting more of the at bats. So we'll see how it plays out. I think performance has something to do with it. I also think health for both guys goes into it. I'll read Ansel Graham's comment because it's basically what I was going to say, but I'll make sure I connect it to what Ansel was saying. I saw Boone mention DJ for second base. I can't imagine he can play second base effectively given his injuries. I also can't imagine him playing effectively in general, but I know he's coming back. We don't know if he could play effectively or not. I'm with Chris. I think he's at the end of the line. We've seen it. There's no debate from me either, but we just haven't seen it yet. But I do agree that the idea that DJ LeMahieu, with all these foot issues, who got hurt in the first game, with a leg injury, can play second base at his age, just seems ridiculous to me. I mean, I couldn't even believe he said that. It was just he's had multiple foot injuries. Then he had a leg injury the first time he's back, and then you're going to put him up the middle? Put Cabrera at second and put DJ at third. I just don't see how that's a viable thing. I also, when I heard that, was just what the hell is Boone talking about? Last year he said that. What was the thing he said about him last year that we always bring up when he was running first base?
Yeah, he couldn't get into to good running form.
He couldn't get into good running form, but let's have him be super agile at second base. That doesn't. How does that work? I don't understand. He might do it, and then we'll all lose our minds, and then it won't work probably, and then he'll just go back to third base. I just don't see how that's happening.
I mean, if they put him at second base, I think he would have less range than Gleyber.
Yeah, absolutely. It would just be. It would be one of those things where you can actually see the lack of range on television. If you can see lack of range on television, you don't have range for that position. Yeah, I'm with you. Keeper Zakes on the Boone platoon comment. I feel like I remember Boone saying in prior years he didn't believe in reverse splits, but now I've heard him bring up reverse splits constantly for lineup decisions.
Yeah, that's basically what I just said. I don't know what changed. I don't know.
See, I wonder if this is a total guess. I'm just spitballing here, but I know Cleveland plays that platoon game, their whole lineup outside of Ramirez and 1 or 2 other guys like Quan is totally rooted in platoon matchups. And maybe the Yankees facing them in the ALCS and having to figure out their pitching matchups. Maybe Boone at some point when he sat down, also playing the Dodgers, who also played a platoon game to a certain degree with some of their guys. Maybe in them planning against these guys in the playoffs, maybe over the offseason, he really started thinking about how it impacts how he has to manage and game plan and he wants to kind of adopt some of that as well, because they did have to go through that when facing Cleveland in the ALCS. Like that, Cleveland's entire offensive roster is built around platoon advantages because they can't bring in all these guys. So maybe that's part of it, because it does feel like there's a different tune, and maybe in him having to prepare for opponents, it hit him that, maybe we can do the same thing to a certain degree. And also it could be that like he has more guys available. Like we spoke about this yesterday, that Boone was intentional in trying to get more at bats for Grisham. Grisham is kind of a reverse splits guy. Now he has Ben Rice. He has like more options. So maybe that's the one way that he's trying to get people at bats, is just playing that game.
I mean, it makes sense. Like you want to maximize your advantages when you have them with platoon situations. Like he shouldn't be criticized for that. And I know some fans always criticize him for everything, but like it makes sense, like to take advantage of the platoon matchups if you have them. So I think it's a good thing that he has come around on that.
Yeah. Glenn Kirshner, father of one Chris Kirshner, says that he just got on. So welcome. Hope you're doing well, Glenn. Keeper Zakes, could have been an analytics department shakeup and not just a personal change with Boone. Do you have any insight into that part of the club, Chris?
I don't know. I haven't asked.
Okay. And then Glenn again. Ben Rice needs another day off from DH. Tired from swinging. Tired from hitting too many doubles.
Yeah, I said in Monday's episode that like I didn't understand like why Ben Rice needed a day off from DH.
Yeah, that was crazy.
What's he tired from?
Look, you already know how I feel about the Jason Bellinger, Rice, Goldie thing. I don't understand some of these decisions, but they're hitting and they have the best offense. And it's not, I mean, Boone can just say, look, man, we're playing well. Shut up. Like, we have a really good offense. There's only 3 spots. There's 4 guys. Please shut the hell up. Stop complaining like every 2 seconds, which I would then say, you're right, Aaron Boone. You're right. I can't really say much. Matt,
want to do one more?
Yeah. Matt Caroli, sorry if you guys discussed this already, but whose spot do you see DJ LeMahieu taking when he's activated? Same question for Stanton. I would think Reyes, right?
I don't know. They could DFA Reyes. They could just send Yorby down to AAA. I don't know.
Okay, I'll rephrase the question. What would you do in that situation?
I mean, there's no reason to keep Reyes around. I'm being honest. I'm not sure what he offers.
You don't like seeing Pablo Reyes play baseball?
I don't know what he offers. I'll just keep it at that.
I don't know what he offers either. But we do offer a Patreon that you can listen to us blab about the Yankees, and you can hear Chris's insights. So that link is in the description portion of this video. Thank you guys for checking us out and spending part of your afternoon with us. We appreciate it. We're going to wrap this up. Finchinator, hope you guys have a good weekend. Hope you guys do too. And your dad just said an out or an error for Pablo Reyes. So that's his contribution. So the Kirshners don't like Pablo Reyes.
He's a nice guy. I don't know what he offers.
I'm sure he's a great guy, and I'm happy that he's a great guy, but he's not a great baseball player, and we could probably move on now. Even for DJ LeMahieu, the corpse of DJ LeMahieu, I think I'd rather have him than Pablo Reyes until he hits into like 6 double plays, and I'm just like, bring Reyes back. So we'll see. That might be a rotating door for a while. So thank you everybody for checking us out. We hope you all have a great weekend. Please consider subscribing to the podcast if you are not a member yet. We have a lot of great stuff to offer, insight and commentary wise. So have a great weekend. Hopefully the Yankees win in Oakland and then Seattle.
Yep.
Right? So we'll see what happens. Your dad's going off on Pablo Reyes now. All right. Speak to you guys soon.